Achoo! In this tutorial, I'll show you how to model and animate a totally awesome penguin gun and a penguin with a parachute.
Alright, hopefully that doesn't get me like disclaimed or something for using 15 seconds of this video. I always get worried about that sometimes. Anyways, the reason I want to point that out is because I'm not making all that cool stuff. I just needed the penguin. And the reason I needed the penguin is because he personally says at the very beginning of the video when he's setting everything up,
We're going to be modifying the Minecraft chicken to turn it into a penguin, so first we're going to have to load in the chicken.
and that is, first off, not what I'm trying to do. I am trying to add in a penguin as its own entity because I'm using a mod, not a data pack. Because he's using a data pack and he's putting everything in, which is just changing the chicken, not adding, keeping the chicken and then adding a penguin. That's what I'm doing. Now, personally, this is my first time using Blockbench, so I'm not used to just using the program in first. Um, Legitimus made this really easy, and I also find him very personally like he's pretty entertaining. He makes a joke here or there. I think it's really interesting to just kind of just listen and just learn from this. I also don't really know animations, which is why that's going to be like a separate part, and that's another thing that that changes the difference between what he was doing and what I'm doing. So like this part that you see is the same thing that I basically did, where all I just needed to do was recreate the model in Blockbench, and then we'll go into the second part because he'll talk about the animations and then moving things. That's stuff that I don't particularly know how to do. But once I got this penguin all together, that was the model, that was the texture I had, and that was the texture I was going to use. So all credits go to Legitmoose for the texturing, the modeling, and even the little tutorial on how to go in there. Um, but if you guys want to check them out, that'd be cool. I found them entertaining, and I'm most likely going to be using this for any entities I make in the future. And this is the part of the video where you can see that he has a sem folder, and then he's got a chicken.gem that is generally specifically for doing it the data pack style, where he's one replacing the chicken, which like I said I'm not doing that, and then two, the way that it's implemented into a data pack, I need to do it in a mod. So in the sem folder, he's got the chicken.gem, and there's a place where he put animations. Because I'm doing this in Fabric, it's actually the way I set it up. It is separated, so it can't go in the same folder. I've run into very interesting, like visually interesting issues that'll probably pop up to show you when I was adding the penguins and some of the issues I was having. But it was definitely something. So the animations have to go into something else, but also this is also separating where whatever animations he added, I could not do. I couldn't figure out like because there's a separate way that it's just done differently, so and it's not a chicken. I'm basically trying to make something from scratch when I separated it to a different folder. All I needed his tutorial for was just the model. Now that I have the model, I'm basically on my own for the animations, but he definitely gave me an idea on, what I wanted to do. Do I want it to waddle? How do I make it walk and stuff like that? But even then, if you look at his tutorial and how it's drawn on my code, like drawn in the code, it's very different. This is also another one of my personal favorites. This is the best way I tried to recreate an issue I had. This is what the animations look like in the folder. It's a little different, but when I started the game, it would basically go into this loop where the game wouldn't start. And I think the part that got me the best is that all the replacement, like all the boxes and all the characters, basically, you can see that they're all just boxes, but like they're spaced properly and stuff like that. But it just doesn't know what anything is, and that's just like the best way I could just recreate. That was an issue I had a lot when trying, like if anything messed up in the thing, and I was able to easily recreate this just by moving a bracket to the wrong place but having the correct number of brackets. There were other issues because, for one, this is the first time I've done animations, so I've never had issues like this before, or at least I wouldn't be able to recognize issues like this before. I mean, that's just a JSON file, but if I put animations where, like how he had them, it would have done that every time, and it would have been annoying. But other than that, that's basically the only thing. Check your files, make sure everything's spelled correctly, and then you're good. Alright, so let me start of the game and kind of explain everything that does with a penguin. And it wouldn't be Minecraft if you didn't have to lower your volume. Alright, so first thing what we're going to do is we're going to make a world. And it's just going to be a random world. These are just previous ones with previous tests, so the chunks are going to be, well, they're not really going to be affected. I don't know if, I think it like reloads chunks when it comes to spawning. Like, it's not like an ore is just, here and there. So this is just going to be the world, and we're going to call it penguins. This is actually the most advanced topic that I have covered on my channel when it comes to modding. I'm not going to even try and go over all the Java classes that I went through because this is just new, and I basically made a promise that the first mob I was going to add was going to be a penguin, and I kept up with that promise. Happy birthday. Anyways, moving on to the penguin itself, the first thing I needed to do was add a spawn egg. So bringing into the eggs, and there's the penguin, putting him down, and there he is. So because his animations were different than my animations, you can look at him carefully, and you can see that his head kind of has a small little bob to it, and his wings also have a nice little flap to them. This is what's called idle, which is basically, I wanted to make it look like breathing. That way he wasn't just still, and it looked like he's doing something. So it does look like a nice breathing, because the only thing he does other than that is he'll either waddle, or if you tame him, which we'll talk about that later, that would be sit. He actually doesn't make any sounds. The only thing when he waddles, it's the same thing as chicken walks, but other than that, it doesn't matter what you do to him, he won't make a sound. This is actually conveniently Snowy Plains, which is the exact same biome that they spawn in, because like I said, biome category icy. I don't know if I said that. Um, so if we look around, there he is, first penguin, and I want him to waddle. That way you can kind of see it. But shoot, there's so like after I got him into the world, the second thing I needed to work on was where is he going to spawn. Obviously, he's a penguin, so he's going to be in the coldest environment. And upon putting him in the coldest environment, it, there's that. So beyond that, there is making sure he is tameable. And oh, there's that little waddle thing. I should probably put out just a few more. Let's not be too hasty here. That way you can get a nice. Oop, there's a baby one. We'll talk about that one in a moment. I just want to see a good waddle. When it comes to taming, you can feed them you can try and feed them like items. It's an actual tameable item. And originally I was gonna make it cod, and for whatever reason, I didn't research this. I just felt like salmon was the better choice. So cod is a no go for these penguins. So if we look up salmon real quick, you'll notice that they will be tameable with the salmon. So you'll get the little hearts, best friends forever, and as soon as you tame it, it goes into the animation.sit. There is no actual motion. It literally just he sits down. That's it. um, I had a few issues with this one, so I just said this is good enough. He does look like he's sitting. I mean, he already looks like he's sitting when he's idle. That was my own personal issue. Whoa, he's gone. Anyways, when it comes to like how you saw the baby penguin, that comes into a different item, because that would be breeding. Breeding is not taming. It could be the same item, but in our case, I made it different. And for whatever reason, just because it's cold, I decided chocolate ice cream is the way to go. I'm gonna. I didn't need to put two, but I did anyway. So they're just gonna stand next to each other. That's what they consider breeding. And if I just push the last one that I breeded, that'll always generally be the mother. Um, there we go. And there we have the baby. So now we have a penguin in the game. He has a spawn egg, so I can just summon him in creative. He spawns in the world, and stuff like that. The only thing I wanted to do is after taming him, is I wanted to put him on a lead. And when I put him on a lead, you can see how he goes in that sitting animation, and it doesn't actually put the lead on him. This makes it so I can't really move him. If I had to move him for whatever reason, the only way I would have to do it is because, well, he is an entity, is push a boat into him. He'll get sucked in, and then I'll have to transport him this way, which is the most annoying way to move a mob because boats are very specific. Um, yeah, so that's just gonna, that's the best way I could do with this thing. But I have they're in the worlds. They're basically non-transportable. Taming them doesn't really do anything because like I also wanted to try and make it so that even if you couldn't like leash them, at least they could like follow you or maybe like how like the dog like when you're like an X amount of blocks away he could teleport to you. No, I don't have anything of that. You tame him, he sits. You can make him stop sitting, and that's it. So I just wanted to run a quick thanks for everyone's support. I just wanted to, this is the first custom entity. It would take me probably a really long time to actually make my own, but at least I know how to make the model of my own. I don't actually know if I could put in all the class files for a new mob. I'll try it out. The first person to give me their next entity, I'll try and put that in as the first one. You'll have, that first opportunity, and and then I'll try and add that one in next. And if I get that second one open, then I'll open up and say, all right, I'm comfortable doing entities. It just might take a while because this is, it is an advanced topic after all. With that in mind, that is everything to do with the penguin. Or everything that I'm gonna explain about it for now, I guess. There are some things it can't do. I mean, if I think it's like 32 blocks away from the penguin, you can't see it, so you have to be in pretty close proximity to actually see the penguin. That's an issue. The taming doesn't do anything. That's not really an issue. It's just something that it just doesn't do. And then the last thing is they're not really transportable. So that's three issues I have. But things will change in the future, I'm sure, and things will get better. But as of now, thank you guys so much for watching. And without further ado,